today then we have the 6th video in this particular series where we looked at the various different classes that will be available at launch for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So there is a playlist if you want to check out the previous videos. For this particular one we will be looking at the Spore Warden class, a class that can use a bow, so instantly I was attracted to them. Quite why I've left them to be the last character, I'm not sure, given I was really interested in them, but that's the way it has played out. So in this video we really cover everything you need to know for the game coming out, so you can get a good idea if you want to play a particular class. So what we'll actually cover, we start off with a general breakdown for the character. We then check out their class feat, which is essentially a unique high level passive that each of the classes has. We then check out their action skills, of which each of the classes has 2 of these, but bear in mind you can mix and match them because you can dual class in this game. And then we finish up by checking out the passives, and there's 6 different tiers of these here. So as mentioned, it's a Spore Warden we will have a look at today. Let's jump in. Let's start off with the general breakdown first. So with this section here, we actually have an official description from the website for the Spore Warden. So Spore Wardens are gun and companion specialists. They can significantly boost the abilities of their companions and allies while laying down withering firepower and slowing advancing enemies with frost tornadoes. Speed and distance are a Spore Warden's best friends. Now, 1 or 2 things I'll mention about them in this section as well. They look to be a ranger style class because this is an RPG style game. All the classes are very similar to classes you would see in an RPG style game, like you've got necromancers and tanks and so on. But this would be a ranger style class. There's a heavy emphasis on the action skills they use. Quite a fair amount of emphasis on summons as well, which we'll talk about in a second, and a lot of boosts to guns. The closest comparison I could probably give to previous games are quite similar to the sniper class in a way, in that they've got a pet and they're all about attacking from long range and looking down the scope. But that's a quick breakdown. Let's now talk about the class feat on them. The class feat we have then for the Spore Warden is Mushroom Companion. Quite a few of the classes actually have a companion as their class feat. So with this one, the Fate Maker is accompanied by a Mushroom Companion that targets nearby enemies and deals poison damage. Pinging an enemy will cause your Mushroom Companion to lunge towards them. None of the other classes actually have this ability, so that's really pretty awesome. As well with this, any increases to the Fate Maker's damage also apply to their companions as well. Now it says companions because you can actually dual mix classes, you can have more than one companion. You could have the Mushroom Companion from this class, and then you could have another companion from a different class as well. But let's now look at the action skills, and there are 2 of these. The first action skill we have here is the one that really did make me intrigued about this class. It's a bow, and if you know me, you know I love Hawkeye, so anything to do with bows piques my interest. This is called Barrage. The Fate Maker summons an ethereal bow, firing 7 arrows that deal ability damage and impact. Arrows ricochet twice between nearby enemies. Barrage has multiple charges. This is the only action skill I've seen so far that's got multiple charges, so that's interesting, and it makes me curious if there'll be certain gear pieces we can get that can up the number of charges you have on action skills. Fingers crossed you can, because that could actually be really pretty awesome. It also states with this, increases the gun damage applied to damage dealt by Barrage. But that's the first action skill. Let's have a look at the next one. The next action skill we have here, this one looks like it will be centred on the crowd control aspect, so it's called Blizzard. The Fate Maker creates free frost cyclones for a duration that seek out nearby enemies, dealing frost ability damage over time. From what I've seen with tooltips for previous characters, the way frost will work is it will slow an enemy, and I believe if you apply enough stacks it will then actually freeze them. So again, as mentioned, this will be more of a crowd control style ability. Now let's have a look at the passives that are available. With the passives then, we have 6 different tiers of these. In order to unlock the subsequent tiers, what you need to actually do is put points in the tier prior to it. As you work your way down, the tiers get more powerful as well. So this is tier 1. We've got Bounty of the Hunt. This is a kill skill, so when you defeat an enemy, so quite situational. Wouldn't be good if you're going up against a boss, perhaps. It doesn't summon any kind of mobs or anything like that, but it's a kill skill, and its action skill cooldown rate is increased for a brief duration. We then have Kindred Heart. This one's about your summons. So companion health is increased, companion damage is increased, and then we have Eagle Eye, which is more of your sniper setup by the looks of it. You'll notice that generally we do get a particular theme with each of these different passives that are available. But this one is Eagle's Eye, gun damage is increased and gun handling is increased as well. So if you're using a sniper rifle or such, then that'll work out really nice. Moving on to tier 2 here, you'll notice some synergies with the previous tiers. So you've got Affinity, ability damage is increased. You then have Spore Cloud, your Mushroom Companion will occasionally let one rip, which is really pretty funny. Taunting enemies and leaving a poison cloud that deals damage over time. And then you've got Bullseye, so gun critical hit chance is increased and companion critical hit chance is increased as well. For tier 3 here, we start off with Quiver of Holding, so magazine size is increased. The Fate Maker's currently equipped weapon regenerates ammo over time. That could be really useful, because if I think back to a Borderlands game, sometimes you'll run low on your ammo and you're having to run about finding it while you're fighting an enemy, so it's nice to have this option here. You then got Medicinal Mushrooms, so while the Fate Maker is in Save Your Soul, that's when you get downed, the Mushroom Companion will attempt to revive them. If it does, you and your companion gain increased damage dealt for a duration. It looks like this class could be really pretty good for solo players, because you've got your companion to pull some aggro, but on top of that, your companion will actually get you back up as well, potentially. Now, finishing up this tier, we've got Windrunner. This is another kill skill, increased movement speed and fire rate for a duration, and this effect can stack as well. With tier 4 here, we have just 2 passives, but they look to be on the powerful side. You've got Thrill of the Hunt, so with this, gun critical hits grant increased companion damage for a duration. The effect can stack up to 10 times. And then we have Cold Shot. When aiming down the sights, the Fate Maker gains an ever increasing amount of increased gun damage and damage reduction. So that ties in with earlier on, I was saying this character will be one that does aim down the sights, maybe a sniper style character. So we have 2 passives here. When it comes to tier 5, you've got Wrath of Nature. Now, a previous passive we actually looked at would be great for solo play. This one will be great for group play, so I'm really liking what I see of this class. But whenever the Fate Maker deals ability damage to an enemy, the affected enemy takes increased damage from all sources for a duration. Again, going to be absolutely fantastic for group play. It's essentially a debuff you're adding to the defense of the enemy you're attacking. You've then got Headhunter, so gun damage dealt to critical hit areas is increased. Finishing up here, we have Play the Angles. The Fate Maker's gun critical hits have a chance to ricochet, dealing reduced ability damage to a nearby enemy. Ricocheted shots have a small chance to ricochet an additional time, and there's various parts of this class's kit where you can increase your crit chance, so that will actually synergise really well there. Now, one thing I'll mention that actually comes to mind with this is the previous video I done was a Stablemancer, where they could get guaranteed crits. That setup alongside this particular passive could actually be really pretty amazing. But that is the Spore Warden class, and that's all the classes now covered. Let me know what you think of the classes we've looked at. Let me know which class you're going to play, and let me know what kind of videos you would like to see going forward. When we do have access to the full game, I will of course look to do specific build guides when I actually get my hands on with the characters, but I'll be doing other videos as well based on what you actually want to see. But thanks for tuning in for this one. Stay safe. I'll see you all again soon.